عليكم. يلا صفحة 5. صفحة 5 هنا. تمام. اسم الحرف ألف. 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 تمام. صوت الحرف آ. 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 مثل apple. apple. تمام. فألف هو vowel. This is our first of 3 long vowels. There are 3 long vowel letters in Arabic, and this is the first one of 3 that exist in the language, okay? One important quick note about long vowels in Arabic is that they sound a bit longer than we would normally say them in English. So that'll make more sense as we start learning some words that contain alif and other long vowels. But just keep that in mind that you pronounce long vowels bil-Arabi in Arabic for a little bit longer than you pronounce long vowels in English normally. تمام؟ alif هو مش social. It's our first antisocial letter, okay? alif مش social. وألف مش جني. تمام? Okay? Get ready. This shape is very difficult. Are you ready? في البداية, the beginning of a word, ألف. It's just a line. You want to start at the top for the beginning form, okay? And it's, notice, a very tall letter. Okay, so alif is the full height of a line. It's going to go all the way from the top to the bottom. Okay, and it's just a perpendicular line. Okay, like that. تمام? في النص. So the thing, remember that this is an antisocial letter, right? So the reason that we don't have a tail on this letter after it, to the left of it, is because it's antisocial, right? So it's always going to choose not to connect on its left side to the letter after it, okay? Remember, letters only have control over whether they connect to the letter after them, okay? They don't get a choice, quote unquote, about the letter before them if they connect, right? They only choose about the letter after them. So because alif is antisocial, it's not going to ever connect to a letter after it. So we can't have a tail after the beginning form because it's not going to connect, okay? However, في النص, in the middle of a word, if it's after a social letter, we use the middle form, right? So if we had a ba before it, for example, ba is a social letter. So if we were putting ba and then alif, there would be a tail before the alif, right? Connecting from the ba. So في النص, in the middle form, we have a tail first coming from the last letter, and then we go up into our alif. Okay, so do that again. You start on the line coming from the social letter before it, and then up into the alif. Okay? The tablet's making a funny hook at the end, but it should just be a straight line. Okay, straight line tail, and then into the alif. تمام? Okay, في النهاية. So the end shape, this is assuming we're coming again after a social letter. So if alif is the last letter in the word and it's coming after a social letter, it's going to look exactly the same as في النص, okay? So antisocial letters really only have 2 different shapes to them. One for both the middle and the end. تمام? So this looks like an L, right? Please do not write this like an L, okay? A capital L in English. Okay, that's going to confuse you because remember, we're writing from right to left. We're coming from a social letter here, and then we're going up into our alif. Okay, so please write it in the direction that I'm writing it. Start on the line and then go up. Okay? تمام. لوحده, the independent shape, as you might have guessed, by itself كذا. تمام؟ لوحده. تمام؟ Okay, ممتاز. شكل الحرف. What can we do to remember this letter? For a mnemonic, for alif, there's not an easy one. So sometimes students get really creative and come up with words that they can think of that start with a sound. So we could do apple stem, okay, like the stem of an apple. Okay, you have to use your imagination a little bit for this mnemonic. I can't remember the other one that students came up with recently, but if you think of something else, great, okay? An apple stem, anything that starts with the sound ah is great for this, okay? تمام. الكلمة. Our word is actually a repeat word. We already did this word. Again, remember, I'm doing mine up here, but you do yours on the line below. Okay, it's just for the sake of the bottom of the screen here. We're repeating this word because it has an alif in it as well. Let me get it on the line. See if you can read this word out loud before I tell you. So remember, this is the letter ba. We have two bas, and now see, this is the alif. And see how we used fanos, the middle form, right? Because it came after a social letter. So ba is social, so then we went up into our alif. And then we have a ba in its independent form. It's in its independent form, even though it's at the end of the word, right? Because alif is antisocial. So alif is never going to connect to this ba. So there's no reason to do ba in its end form with that tail. Oops. Okay? Because we don't need this tail for anything. So you don't just put the tail for no reason. Okay? So see if you can read that word out loud. Bab. 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 Bab يعني, in case you forgot, door. باب يعني door. تمام؟ اوكي خلاص، مع السلامة.